Alright, a couple quick notes to point out. You're doing an oil change on a Pan America or one of the new Sportsters. They did change the procedures recently for how to check and fill the oil on these. So when you drain the oil, you need to make sure you drain the oil with it on the side stand. Make sure you get all the oil out of the oil pan. And you want to go ahead and remove your oil filter at that same time. The other part of that is when you go to fill it back up, okay, you're going to put 2.5 quarts in on your initial fill. Once you've got that oil in there, you're going to put the cap back in there, start the engine, let it run for 10 seconds to get the oil throughout the system. And you're going to shut the engine off, and you're going to start checking the oil and add oil until the oil is on the just on the end of the dipstick. Okay. The big change to this procedure is this is done on all these motorcycles with the motorcycle in the upright position, not on the center stand, just in the upright position. Okay. That way it's always the same level, everything's pretty well level, and it'll give you a good indication. They had issues with the adaptive ride height on the side stand especially. It would cause differences depending on whether it was in the high setting or whether it was all the way lowered out as to what the oil level was. The other thing I've noticed on these, you have to use some patience when you're doing an oil change. The way this is formed, right here at this little bend, it takes a while to get the oil to go into these, especially when you're topping it off at the end of your service. There's been a lot of stuff on the forums about people getting their motorcycle serviced, and then when they check the oil is low. In the shop setting, we kind of get in a rush sometimes. We're trying to get through services, trying to get jobs done, and it's hard to remember that on the Pan Americas and on the RevMax engines, there are some different procedures, and you do have to be a little bit more patient with them. And just give it enough time for that oil to filter into the down into the case where it belongs, so you can check that level. So just take your time, let that oil settle down where it needs to go, and everything will go pretty smooth. Overall, the system is about a 4-quart system, but again, the initial fill on these before you run it for 10 seconds is 2.5 quarts. And this will help get you in that ballpark and help you get this thing to the right oil level it needs to have.